Hi, it's Nick Thorne here, and I'm a regular writer for Discover Your Ancestors magazine, my own blog, The Nosy Genealogist, and I run the Family History Researcher Academy. Now, 78 years ago, on May the 16th, 1943, the legendary bouncing bombs of Operation Chastise were released against the Ruhr dams in Germany by the RAF. Wing Commander Gibson, DSO, DFC and Bar, had already flown 172 sorties and was not expecting to be asked on the 18th of March 1943 if he was willing to fly on one more trip. Guy Gibson was 24 and he was already a veteran RAF bomber pilot when he was put in charge of a newly created squadron, number 617, and they were equipped with Lancaster bombers. Gibson was a born leader, but he was also seen as arrogant and bombastic, and that earned him the uncomplimentary nickname of the Boy Emperor. And because he was a strict disciplinarian, he also gained the title of the Arch Bastard. Now, it had been in March 1943 when he was told that he was going to command a new squadron and that it would be required to fly low at night with an objective that had to be achieved by the 19th of May of that year. Their base was going to be at RAF Scampton, where the new squadron was going to be stationed. Now, the Genealogist website has a programme of releases of the RAF Air 27 records, which are operations record books, or ORBs, and at the time of this anniversary, this includes those for the famous number 617 squadron. So, if we do a search for Guy Gibson in the military records on the Genealogist, and we're looking for May 1943, we can see that on the 1st of May, he was on temporary duty for the day. Glancing down the page, we note that the squadron was having more than its fair share of bigwigs on morale-raising visits, with the 5th of May saw the Marshal of the Royal Air Force, the Lord Trenchard. Now, he was instrumental in setting up the RAF, and he was a champion of strategic bombing. The very next day, the 6th, saw Air Marshal Sir Arthur Harris, who was Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of RAF Bomber Command. Now, he's known to many as Bomber Harris. Searching for the 16th of May, we read in the Daily Journal that a special operation for which this squadron has been training so hard was carried out. It mentions the 3 great German dams and that 19 aircraft took off and 8 failed to return. Nonetheless, it was an outstanding success. If we then glance at the entry for the 18th of May, this tells us that all the aircrew were given 7 days leave, while the 24th of May reveals that the King had approved the immediate awards of Victoria Crosses for Gibson and Flight Sergeant Brown and Flight Sergeant Townsend, while a whole host of others were honoured and received their DSOs, DFCs and bars. The 27th of May saw a visit to the base by the King and the Queen themselves. Operation Chastise, being of historical significance, means that the compiler of the ORB saw fit to write a summary on a Form 541 that's modestly titled by the Royal Air Force as Details of Work Carried Out. And this is a great précis of the Dambusters raid that was written by the squadron that actually flew the mission. Now, these ORBs, the detailed journal-like records, uniquely released online by the Genealogist, are a goldmine of information for finding out about what an airman's or air crew's duty life was like. But the Genealogist also has a host of other military records on its site. So if we're to do a search for Guy Gibson, we also find him in the Air Force lists, including that of course, 1943, when the Dambusters raid took place. And in that 1943 air list, you can see that the VC that he'd been awarded is very obviously included before his name. The Genealogist website also has a dedicated Dambuster record set in which you can find the air crew, and if we look in for Guy Gibson, we see details of the duty that he carried out, which was captain, the type of aircraft, a Lancaster 3, its call sign, the time it took off and the time it returned, and all sorts of other details, including the names of his crew. If we take our research even further on the genealogists, we can see that Wing Commander Gibson sadly lost his life later the next year when he was flying with 627 Squadron. These records are absolutely wonderful if you've got aircrew and in your family, and the orbs in particular give a almost daily detail of what was happening in their squadron and on their base. I'm Nick Thorne. Thanks very much for watching.